Guys, I might have found something really exciting. The Ohuhu of coloured pencils. Montmartre 72 pack coloured pencils. Now, I'm not expecting massive amounts from these because they come in at a value of 21 pence per pencil. And comparing that to the most expensive I could find, which is £4.29 for a single Caran d'Ache luminance, yeah, you're not seeing those anytime soon. Or the more reasonable price of £1.36 for a polychromos, and 55 pence actually for Castle Arts, and I'll be reviewing those in another video, so keep an eye out for that. Subscribe if you want to see that video. But yeah, these are the Montmartre colour pencils. We're going to swatch them and we're going to do an illustration with them just to see what they're like, and are they really worth it? Are they terrible? Are they great? Are they the Ohuhu of coloured pencils? So even though these are chip resistant leads, well, let me show you. They're all nice and sharp, except for these three here at the back. There we go. Which look to have totally broken, which is a shame, but we're not going to hold it against them given their price point. Looking at these pencils a little bit closer, you can see that it's a very thin type of barrel, and admittedly they actually have colour names, which is pretty good. I don't know if this tip matches the lead. We'll see that in the swatching. And the three that broke were these three at the end here. I've sharpened them up, and they are all apparently fluorescent, which to me, when they broke, it might mean that they have a weaker lead, or the pigment is different, or something is different, because they're the only three that broke. Like, pretty much the nibs were just down here at the bottom, which it shouldn't have been. So these are a good look at them. There's a good variety of colour. Like I said, there's 72 in a pack. So we will now see, when it comes to swatching, exactly what these pencils can do. Okay, so the swatching of these pencils. My immediate thought is that these were very hard to work with. They're very scratchy, which is odd, but also for their price point, kind of expected. They're not going to be as smooth as something like Prismacolor's Polychromos or anything like that. I was a bit confused because I had so many yellows that looked very, 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 very similar. And I thought that, well, I'm missing pencils here, but I wasn't. In fact, I think I doubled up on a few of them. But overall, while the pencils themselves were scratchy, the pigments, when you actually press down, the pigment comes out very strongly, which is a good thing. But if you're looking for a light touch, like a light base to work with, then they're hit and miss. I would like to say I'm not being sponsored, I'm not being paid. I bought these with my own money, or, completely outside of any corporate thing. This is my own thoughts, just to say that. But yeah, the reds, the oranges were great, the dark yellows were great. In general, darker colours worked a lot better than the lighter colours. I don't know if that's the case in Prismacolors. It's not the case in Polychromos. It's not the case in even Crayola's Tesco blendable pencils. The pencils that these remind me of is the Stettler brand, which I hated using. But having said that, as we're going through these swatches, the blues were fantastic. They were very pigmented no matter what you did. The coverage is also pretty good. At least it is at this point. Whether it'll be the same when we go to the colouring, you'll see. But for their price point, these pencils seem to be working well. They seem to be where they should. They seem to be great for anyone doing this as a hobby. And I am using a sketch pad here. I'm just using regular old sketch pad paper. It's not printer paper. It's actually a little bit thicker than that. But I will say that their performance is similar across both papers that I use. When we look at the very, very light colours, and some of these pencils, they're just really weird to use. The silver is very faint, the grey is faint. I don't know why they give us grey in the first place, it's just a pencil. And here is where I messed up, because the neons, they're fantastic, and they're definitely neon. But, as the rest of them, we'll see. Now, with the drawing itself, I'm using a Winsor & Newton sketch pad. Again, it's not printer paper, but it's not any particular sort of paper. I don't think that we can truly, or we shouldn't have to, buy specific paper for specific art materials. Art materials should work at a certain level across all papers, because it's not easy to get these papers. It's not easy to get special marker paper in certain places. So that's my thoughts on that. Looking here at coverage, again, the browns are fine. The yellow is good coverage. The blending is where these pencils disappoint slightly. Looking at the actual artwork in real life and looking at it via the screen here, you can see all the pencil marks despite my attempts to blend them out. Now, whether that's because I sharpened these pencils and they had a pretty sharp point to them, or whether it's because these pencils just don't particularly blend very well, I'm not sure. Whether you need an extra blending tool or some, like, a colourless alcohol marker, I don't know. But this did disappoint me quite a bit. The other thing that these pencils disappoint me with is the coverage. Now, it's obvious to see now on this paper that even though in real life it looks like a nice solid block of colour, the moment you put down or put it on camera, it's scratchy, it's patchy, it doesn't really work. And I think that is a huge weakness for any kind of art material, that it can't stand on its own. I think these would work brilliantly with a marker base, but that is not how pencils should behave. That's definitely an extra thing you can do, but you don't have to do. What I will praise these pencils for, however, is the ability to darken and make the pigment more bold and more striking. Because even though it looks patchy on the screen, as you can tell, making it bolder by pressing harder, sometimes pencils just can't do that. But these can, which I'm very happy with. All in all, do I recommend these pencils as any sort of alternative? To polychromos, no. To Staedtler, yes. To cheap pencils as a whole, yes. These are probably one of the better brands I've tried. So I would recommend the Montmartre 72 count pencils, and I will point you to my review of their markers up in the top.